Hey everybody, back with another video, and today we're going to talk about Swedish torches. Reason I want to try to do a Swedish torch video is because I'm going to get ready to go on a 7-day excursion, and I am really trying to test out the stuff I want to take with me. I'm going to say that I just recently picked up one of these Sterno stoves for $5. And this was something I wanted to try out, and I tell you what, I really liked the way this worked. It made cooking enjoyable. I didn't have to process a lot of wood, and this really did a number on getting things done in camp. And the way that sits is basically just like that. There we go. Alright, so this is the way the stove comes. It's got nothing in the bottom of it. It's designed to hold a sterno can. But I took a piece of perforated metal and I bent it and cut it so it fit in there. So now I've got a bottom in it. And this worked great. You just fill it up, you start your fire, and you can either front load it, or you can leave that open and get a great draft for a hot fire. You can close that up and the draft slows down. And there's a couple of extra, or a little bit extra wider here in the center, so when your pot's on there, you can top feed it as well. And this worked out great. Had a little bit of warping, did a lot of cooking on it, and she warped up a little bit, but not too bad, still very usable. So that led me to wanting to get a firebox. Fireboxes are pretty cool, but they're 2 pounds, the one that I want to get. So do I really need to carry an extra 2 pounds with me? You know, this is fairly light. I haven't weighed it, but it's really lightweight, and it takes up a little bit of space. But what I want to try is the Swedish torch. Okay, I think we can do everything we need to do with the Swedish torch that you can do with this. I don't see why we can't. So let's give this a try real quick. I brought some, basically some dried potatoes out here with me. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and baton this into 4 pieces. Not sure what kind of wood this is. Try to baton it as close to equal parts as I can. Now when I tried to cut this, and I spared you the agony of watching me saw this, but basically just used this camp saw, sawed it out of a stave. This is about 3 inches in diameter, depending on the amount of food you want to cook, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. But this is what was readily available, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Oops, don't need that. I want to use the baton. Okay. Okay, so there's our 4 pieces. And I wanted to kind of keep them in the same position they were when I cut them. Okay, so there we got our pieces cut. So let's go ahead and get this workbench out of the way. Clear us a little spot. By the way, this is this area that we're working in right here is going to be the new campsite. It's going to be where we test and trial and review a lot of products. It's going to be an area where we can hone our skills, and this is actually in our backyard. We got 4 acres, and this is way out in the back here, so it's way out of the way, and it's nice and close to the house, so I can get out here a lot to do this type of stuff, get some videos out. And also there's a bunch of neighborhood kids that I can share survival skills with, and they all dig it too. So we'll have some videos coming up on getting some camp built up. I think we're actually going to start this weekend too, getting semi-permanent camp set up. Alright, so all we got to do basically is get our Swedish torch to set semi-level, and have it be somewhat secure. Okay, you want it to be there. I think that's pretty good. Let's try it out. So I'm not going to do a huge amount of cooking today, but here's our camp pot, billy pot, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to just use the cup today. Now, if you wanted to boil a larger amount of water, there's no reason why you couldn't put that directly on the fire. You know, so long as you were sturdy here. You know what I'm going to do? I think this will make this a little bit easier. So we're going to level this out and build a little bit of a concave center. Okay? And that will allow all the pieces to kind of lean into each other towards the center. There. Alright. Where are we at on parts here? Okay, well, I got a fire kit right here. And I've got some fat wood in here ready to go. And I've got some birch bark. So let's see what we can't do with some of this. I'll get out my smaller knife here. We don't need. So I also built a baton, but I left it flat on both sides so I could have a little bit of a workspace if I'm doing something like this. I'm going to go ahead and get some small fat wood processed up here. So I'd like to get it a little bit smaller than that. It does not take much to get these going. And there's no sense in wasting your resources if you don't need to. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to just get some small pieces like this. We're going to cut a few crisscrosses in there. Back and forth like that. Alright. That should probably be enough right there. Toss that down in there. Okay, I could go all feather stick and everything and hit it with a sparker, but I'm not. We're not out here to build a fire. We're out here to test the Swedish stove and get some water boiling for some dry goods supper. So let's go ahead and stick that down in there. You want to get that fire going in the center best as possible. So we got the fire going. We'll go ahead and pick up our, we didn't even need the birch bark. Put this back in our fire kit. Probably could have processed that fat wood down just a little bit more and been just fine, because it's an awful lot of fuel, non-combusting fuel in there. Pull this piece out a little bit, see if we can't get this side to light. So a lot of the fire's are just on that one side there. This is real time. I'm not going to cut any of this. If you want to skip forward a little bit until we get this up and running, by all means, but it should be just a few minutes and this thing will be up and running, and we'll put our water on there. Now we're about up to here, so it's about a cup of water or so, I guess. Well, it sure creates a stink. Keep the bugs away, that's for sure. Well, while that's getting going, let's talk about this real quick. Now, you could do the Swedish torch inside of this if you wanted to. You could even make it larger. You could do a wider piece that was maybe shorter. You can probably do up to a good 4.5, 5-inch piece in there. And seeing as this is somewhat square rectangle, you could turn these pieces so that the cut part was here and the round part was here. And you could do a very large Swedish torch, start a fire right in the center of it. Okay, we're starting to get a pretty good fire inside there. Alright, won't be too much longer. I just want to get some of that pine pitch burned up before I stick my cup on there and smoke it all up. That's pretty good. Alright, let's stick it on there. We're going to time it. It's 4:16 in 30 seconds. Probably going to need to get the gloves on because the cup will be hot. Well, so what I brought with us to cook up here, I had some leftover just mashed potatoes from the last trip I took, so I thought I'd bring these out here and cook those up real quick. And what I did was I've got one of those sealers, and I went ahead and sealed the package back up, so when I was done, we'll go ahead and cut this open. We're going to let that heat up just a little bit more. Go ahead and add a little more water to that, cool it back down. We'll start over basically. Check the water temp. Oh yeah, it's just room temperature. So again, this is what I'm trying to do is to really determine, do I need to buy a firebox stove, or is it more of a novelty than anything else? Can I cook? I can effectively boil water on this. I know I can. I've done it before. But I want to see how much I could actually do. I want to see if we can do a longer cook, like a bake. Like if we can get 20 or 30 minutes out of it, then I could bake some bannock in my billy pot. I haven't done a video on that yet, but I've actually put this cup inside the billy pot, and it kind of has a snug fit. What I did was, the original cup design handle here came straight down and back in, and that stuck out too far, and it did not fit inside this can very well. So I bent it like that so that it would slip down, and it's got a snug fit. It's got a snug fit, and because it's got a snug fit, and you see the height difference here, what I can do is I put it in there and I just raise it up. And see there's a little catch right there? I raise it up above that catch. That leaves an air gap all the way around the cup. I can bake a nice muffin inside that can, inside of this, over the top of the fire. Alright, I think we're going pretty good now. Let's go ahead and get this on here. Okay, so 420. If you want to fast forward a little bit, by all means, just go ahead until you see me start to put some potatoes or something in there. I'm going to go ahead and let the camera run while this is going. Kind of do this real time here. Pretty much see from the beginning of the video how long the video is and how long this entire process would take. We don't have a flame now, it's just coals. You know what? This piece of wood has got a lot of moisture in it. I put this on there and it starts to sizzle. So that tells me something right there. If you were in super wet conditions or it had been raining a lot, this may not be the ideal way to go, because most of the stuff you're going to find is either going to be laying on the ground, or even if it's vertical, it's still going to be wet. Still going to work, I believe. Yeah, well, she's heating up pretty good. She's starting to bubble in there. Getting some bubbles forming. This realistically should only take about 4 or 5 minutes to get this to a rolling boil. Tell you what, let's go ahead and put the lid on it. Help speed the process up a little bit. Oh yeah, it's got a good burn in there. So while we're waiting for that, I'll go over a couple of the other things. I've got a little Esbit stove in here, some aluminum foil as a windshield. I've got some tablets in here for burning. Got a little piece of aluminum foil to block off the backside so I could burn little twigs in here if I had to. And also, we got the Trangia stove. This is really awesome. I love this, and did I bring it out here with me? I don't think I did. Nope. Got another little stove I made. It's a gasification stove, gasifier type wood gas stove, and that works pretty good if you're only wanting to boil a little bit of water here like this. Doesn't last long enough to do something like this. I haven't done a video on this pack yet. This is a Maxpedition pouch. You could call it a EDC, you could call it a haversack, or whatever. But basically, this has got everything in it except for some type of sleep system. As far as warmth sleep system, I've got a hammock in here. I've got a 5x7 tarp in here. I've got cooking implements, fire making implements. I've got cordage. I got large cordage, paracord, flashlight, multi-tool, laser light, bank line, shovel, my other knife there. So I've got 2 knives. I've got emergency kit. I'll go ahead and go through this thing. And I even got an emergency weather type radio. It's got a dynamo and a solar panel on it. We're getting pretty close. You want to check the stability, make sure we're not going to tip over or anything. So far, so good. Well, while we're waiting for that, we're getting real close, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this out. I just got a bamboo set of utensils here. Can't remember what I said it was, like 522 or something, 520. I have to go back and review the video, but we're almost there. Fire went out a little bit. Still cold, still a lot of heat. We still would have done the job. Just a lot of moisture in that little block of wood. I did gather that wood from the ground. I didn't get it from an upright standing piece of timber. Bubbles, but not a rolling boil. Almost there. This is about as small as I would want to go on a choice for a slug of wood to do something like this on. It's a little unbalanced there, a little weeble wobble. Now, I'm going to say that right now, if I wanted to just go ahead and put my stuff in there and go for it, it would be good. We got bubbles coming to the surface. And that back chunk is getting pretty thin. I don't want to lose it, so I think I'm going to call that good. And we're looking pretty good on the boil anyway, so I'm going to got my gloves because I know this is pretty warm. Pour my mashed potatoes in there. Now I didn't measure, so I don't know if it's going to be soupy or... Oh yeah, too much water. It's real soupy. I'll just drink it like a soup. Or soupy potatoes. But anyway, there you go. A little Swedish torch is enough to heat up about 2 cups of water there, and go ahead and provide you with some. Go ahead, cover this up. What I want to do instead of covering it up like that. Where's the other one? 1, 2, 3. There it is. Just going to go ahead and pour some water over it. There. Alright, well, anyway, thanks for watching. Again, I just wanted to do this video so that I could kind of see what I needed to take with me and what was unnecessary. And in the event of a rain situation, I think something like this would work a lot better because you can get really small twigs, get a fire going really good with a little bit of fat wood down in there. I suppose you could do the same thing with a Dakota fire pit if you wanted to use some small twigs and do something like that. But I think that worked out pretty good. I kind of sold myself on not really needing a stove to take with me, knowing I can do a Dakota fire pit. I got a shovel. Even if I didn't have a shovel, I could dig the hole with my knife or my tomahawk. I could dig a hole with either one. So, do you need a firebox or the like? No, you don't. You can do it with what you got in the woods, so long as you've got a camp saw, something like this, or even if your multi-tool had a little saw on it, you could probably still get something like that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.